Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a magical kingdom called Fantasia. In Fantasia, everything was made of candy, and the sky was a swirling mix of cotton candy clouds. The ruler of Fantasia was King Candyfloss, a kind and wise monarch who had a special power. He could turn any ordinary object into candy with a wave of his hand. King Candyfloss had a daughter named Princess Sugarplum, who was the sweetest and kindest princess in all of Fantasia. She had long, flowing hair as pink as bubblegum and eyes that sparkled like sugar crystals. Princess Sugarplum was loved by all the creatures of Fantasia, from the candy cane unicorns to the licorice dragonflies. One sunny morning, as Princess Sugarplum was strolling through the candy cane forest, she heard a soft, melodious voice singing in the distance. She followed the sound of the singing and soon came upon a clearing where a group of tiny creatures were dancing and singing around a beautiful flower. The flower was unlike any Princess Sugarplum had ever seen. It had petals made of gumdrops, a stem made of licorice, and a center made of the sweetest chocolate. The fragrance that wafted from the flower was pure magic. As Princess Sugarplum watched the dancing and singing, she noticed that the tiny creatures were struggling to reach the flower's nectar. They were too small to reach the delicious chocolate center, and their tiny wings couldn't carry them high enough. Princess Sugarplum couldn't bear to see the tiny creatures disappointed, so she used her magical powers to turn the flower's stem into a soft, springy trampoline. The tiny creatures cheered and bounced up to the flower, delighting in the sweet nectar. One of the creatures, a little sugar sprite named Sprinkle, approached Princess Sugarplum and said, "Thank you, Princess, for helping us reach the magical flower. It's our favorite treat, and we've been dreaming of tasting it for ages." Princess Sugarplum smiled and replied, "You're very welcome, Sprinkle. It brings me joy to see you happy." "What is this magical flower called?" Sprinkle answered. "This is the candy blossom, and it only blooms once every 100 years. Its nectar is said to grant a special wish to whoever tastes it." Princess Sugarplum was intrigued. She decided to make a wish herself and bent down to taste the candy blossom's nectar. As soon as the sweet nectar touched her lips, a magical sensation flowed through her entire body. She closed her eyes and made her wish with all her heart. When she opened her eyes, she felt different. She looked down and gasped in surprise. She had been transformed into a tiny, winged fairy, just like the sugar sprites. Princess Sugarplum had always dreamed of flying, and now her wish had come true. The sugar sprites cheered, and Sprinkle exclaimed, "Princess Sugarplum, you're one of us now. You have wings, and you can fly with us." Princess Sugarplum was overjoyed. She joined the sugar sprites in their dancing and singing, and they welcomed her into their tiny world with open arms. From that day on, Princess Sugarplum split her time between her royal duties in the Candy Castle and her adventures with her new friends in the Candy Blossom Clearing. As a flying fairy, Princess Sugarplum discovered new parts of Fantasia she had never seen before. She visited the Gummy Bear Mountains, the Chocolate River, and the Marshmallow Meadows. She even had a friendly race with a licorice dragonfly, which ended in laughter and a tie. But Princess Sugarplum's favorite adventure was when she and the Sugar Sprites helped a lost jelly bean bunny find its way home. They traveled through the licorice forest, crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and finally arrived at the Jelly Bean Village, where the bunny's family was overjoyed to see it again. Princess Sugarplum had a heartwarming feeling that day as she witnessed the reunion of the Jelly Bean Bunny and its family. As the years passed, Princess Sugarplum continued to spread kindness and joy throughout Fantasia. She used her magical powers to create candy treats for the kingdom's children, and she always made sure that every creature in Fantasia had enough to eat and a warm place to sleep. One day, as Princess Sugarplum was tending to the candy blossom, she heard a soft voice coming from the flower. It said, "Princess, you have shown kindness and selflessness beyond measure. Your heart is as sweet as the candy that surrounds us. You have proven yourself worthy of a special gift." The candy blossom's petals began to glow with a radiant light, and Princess Sugarplum felt a surge of magic flow through her. When the light faded, she had returned to her human form, but she had been granted a new power. She could now turn any ordinary object into candy, just like her father, King Candyfloss. Princess Sugarplum used her new power wisely, turning barren fields into candy gardens and old, worn-out toys into sweet playthings for the children of Fantasia. She continued to rule alongside her father, King Candyfloss, and together they made Fantasia the sweetest and happiest kingdom in all the land. And so, in the magical kingdom of Fantasia, where candy grew on trees and kindness filled the air, Princess Sugarplum learned that the sweetest adventures are the ones that come from the heart. With her wings or without them, she knew that spreading love and joy would always be her greatest magic of all, and they all lived happily ever after, in a world where dreams came true and the sweetness of friendship was the most precious gift of all. The end.
Chapter 1: The Mysterious Map. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lived two curious siblings named Lily and Leo. Lily was 11 years old, with sparkling blue eyes and a heart full of wonder. Leo, her younger brother at 8, had a mischievous grin and an insatiable appetite for adventure. Together, they were the best of friends and shared a love for exploring the unknown. One sunny morning, while rummaging through the attic, the siblings stumbled upon an old, dusty chest. Inside, they discovered an ancient map, its edges frayed and corners yellowed. The map depicted an enchanted realm called the Land of Whimsy, filled with magical creatures, hidden treasures, and countless mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Wide-eyed and excited, Lily and Leo decided to embark on a grand adventure to discover the Land of Whimsy. They packed their backpacks with snacks, a compass, and a sense of bravery that only children possess. Chapter 2: the enchanted forest. Following the map's intricate trails, they ventured deep into the heart of the forest. Tall, ancient trees stood sentinel, their leaves shimmering in shades of green. Birds chirped melodious tunes, welcoming the young explorers to this enchanting world. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the air grew cooler, and the trees whispered secrets. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a hidden glade bathed in golden light. In the center, a majestic unicorn with a silvery mane stood peacefully. Lily and Leo approached the unicorn cautiously. With a gentle touch, Lily calmed the magnificent creature, while Leo whispered his wishes into its ear. The unicorn, in return, bestowed upon them a magical pendant each, promising protection and guidance throughout their quest. Chapter 3: The Talking Trees. The magical pendants led them deeper into the forest until they reached a grove where the trees had faces carved into their bark. These were the talking trees, ancient guardians of the land of whimsy. The trees told tales of the land's history, its hidden secrets, and the challenges that awaited Lily and Leo. Armed with newfound knowledge, they continued their journey, trusting in the wisdom of the talking trees. Chapter 4: The Puzzling Riddles. Their path led them to a meadow where a group of playful fairies danced around a shimmering pond. But to cross, they had to solve the fairies' riddles. With their wits and determination, Lily and Leo correctly answered each riddle, earning the fairies' respect and a boat made of rainbow petals. Chapter 5: The Tower of Imagination. Further down the map, they discovered the Tower of Imagination, a towering structure made of books that reached the clouds. Here, they met Professor Quill, a wise elf who taught them the magic of storytelling and encouraged them to create their own adventures.